everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at 5 Swift game reviews. And an interesting thing today, 2 of these games are really big, and 3 are quite small. But here's the good news. I have no negative reviews in this batch. That's just how it works. So let's see what we think. Here we go. First, we have a little tiny game here called Rankster. And I have really been enamored with the silliness of this small game because it's a little game. You can see it opens up here, the cards come out, and it's basically just ranking people. And I have seen ranking games. This is easily the 15th one of these games that's come across my desk. But this one includes AI, and not in the way you might think. The AI will rank the things for you. Now, you don't have to use that. You can just play with judges and all, but let me show you. There's multiple ways to play this game, but basically every game is going to be played the same way, where you're going to draw 3 random cards from here. So here, Muhammad Ali, Elon Musk, and Cristiano Ronaldo. So it tells you who they are in case you don't know who they are. And then I might say, who would I ask for fashion advice? Now, if you're playing with humans, one person's going to be the judge, and they're going to secretly put some cards face down, 1, 2, and 3 on these, as to which they would pick. And then everyone else is going to work together as a group, or teams will work together and guess, and you're going to get points if you match them correctly or if you don't. However, and what I find to be interesting, you can also use an AI. So there's an AI online where you can just enter the codes. There's a little QR code on the box that you can use. So I'm just going to put these people in here. And so here's your chance. What do you think the AI is going to say? He's currently ranking. Who would you ask for fashion advice? I haven't seen this yet, so I'm going to guess that we would pick the soccer player, then Muhammad Ali, then Elon Musk. Let's see. So he ranks him first. He ranks Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo is known for his impeccable style and has frequently been featured in fashion magazines. He has his own clothing line and is often seen wearing high-end designer brands. Many people admire his fashion sense and seek inspiration from his looks. Musk is known for his unconventional style and unique fashion choices. While some consider his style eccentric, others appreciate his individuality and willingness to take fashion risks. And Muhammad Ali, he's not known for fashion expertise, blah, blah, blah. He's not typically associated with this the way the other 2 are. So this is subjective, and you can sit and argue over it all you want. But that is basically how the game is played. So you get points if you're correct. You get, you can play a cooperative version where everyone's trying to match, and you have to go through a certain number of cards to get correct. But that's the way the game is. There's different cards here. We got Elsa and Frankenstein's monster and Freddie Mercury and Mother Teresa and Andy Warhol and Bono and Darth Vader. And we're asking things like, who would give you the best dating advice? Who would you choose as a co-pilot on a space mission to Mars? Who would mail out the most holiday cards? Who would give the best hug? Darth Vader, for sure. Who would you cast in a remake of Titanic? So that's basically how the game plays. See, what I like about Rankster is it's going to make a great car game. You know, you're in the car, you just pull this out, you pull up your phone, you put in these 3 people, and then you have a discussion. And everyone will sit there, and everybody is going to yell every time about what the AI picks. But again, you don't have to do the AI. You can just have someone else. You can have, you know, Grandpa on the front of the card or Aunt Carol in the front. Pick the 3 different things and rank them in their head. And then you everyone discusses, and then you argue back and forth. This is a game made for arguing, but hopefully for good-natured and silly arguing. I like the AI aspect. According to the app, when I put it in there, it says that I have I think it started with 80 or 90 different times you can use it. But it said once you're done, you basically send them and say, hey, where'd you get the game or something, and they'll give you more. So keep that in mind. But again, you don't even need that to play the game. So this one's a little fun. Like I said, right in the card type game, I give it a 7 out of 10. That is Rankster. Seas of Strife is a remake of a trick-taking game that I have not played the original trick-taking game that this came on. It was originally came out, was just called Strife, and then Amigo made a version of this called Texas Showdown. Now we have a brand new version here that includes the variant rules that the author originally intended. So there's almost 2 different ways to play this. Let me show you. So this is an unusual deck of cards. It goes from 0 to 74, but there's different suits and they're ranked in numerical order. So orange goes from 0 to 10. 10 is the highest number, and you can tell that by it being a white number there. There's also flags on the side that show you the ranking in that. Then 11 through 20, then 21, and it gets smaller and smaller. So you can see the red cards here is only 71 to 74. There's only 4 of those cards. So you're going to shuffle these and deal them to everyone. And what you're trying to do in this game is not take tricks. So like many trick-taking games, when you play a card, each other person must follow suit if possible. However, if you don't have any of that suit, you can play any color you want. Then once you've done that, the next player can play any card that's been played so far. So the next player might have orange in their hand, but they might decide to play red instead. And then the last player can decide that they'll play an orange. Now, the way that this trick is won is you count the number of cards of each color. There's 3 orange and 2 red. So orange matters. Who played the highest card of that color? Well, it's this player, so they would take the trick. And then they're going to be the first one for the next round. Unless they play the highest card, so let's say they play this, then they can pick who's first for next round, which usually is the player to your left, because in this particular game, it's good to go last. And then you just keep doing that till all the tricks are gone. Whoever has tricks gets a point for each one, and you keep going till someone gets to a certain number of tricks, like 15 or so, and then whoever has a fewest points is the winner. You can also play a variant that when this card is played, in the same scenario, it zeroes that color out. So if this card was played here, now orange doesn't count. So in this case, orange, it doesn't count, so only red does, and the highest red is this, so the person who has the 18 will take the trick. And so that is how you play. Now, as a trick-taking game, this is fascinating to me, that when you play a card and then you follow suit, but the following suit means you can follow any of the cards that are left. So that's interesting, and it actually makes this better, in my opinion, with more players, because with more players, some more interesting things can happen. I played it with 4 works, but I think I might like it better with 5 than 4. Now, the question is, are the variant rules where the one card cancels the other better? I think they are slightly. I find it to be like a fascinating, see what happened. But when I played it with people, they've been divided. Although I did play a fun game where we switched variant every hand. So every time we dealt out a hand and did it, then the next hand we played with the variant, then the next one we did it. And that's kind of my preferred way to do it, just because it changes things up. I do not love this version of the game. I like Beth Sobel's artwork. I think she's one of the best artists in the business. It just doesn't work here. These cards just don't look that interesting. The symbols on them and the colors are fine, but I don't know. This game isn't a very neat looking game. You can argue and say it's a trick-taking game, doesn't need to look good, but if you look at, for example, the original Texas Showdown, it looked better. That being said, I play a lot of trick-taking games. I think a lot of trick-taking games have gimmicks to them, but the gimmick in this one works for me a lot. I enjoyed this one tremendously. I give it an 8 out of 10. That is Seas of Strife. Good face, bad face. I remember I said at the beginning here, all my things will be positive. This was from Big Potato, but it doesn't look like a good game. And I'll tell you what, when I pulled it out to the table, I did not think so. But let's take a look. In this game, you're going to have good faces and bad faces. The number is determined on the number of players. So let's say a 4-player game will have 14 good faces. Look at all the cute faces. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we'll have 6 bad faces. Oh, they're also cute. And then you shuffle these together and you give them out to players evenly. So you're going to get a handful of cards that has good and bad faces in it. So one person goes first, and they're going to look at their hand, and they're going to make a stack of cards from their hand. So let's say, for example, this is the stack of cards that I made. You can make a stack of just one card. It goes to the next player. That player has to decide whether they will turn over the top card or just pass it to the next player. And you keep going. If it comes back to the person who made the stack, you must turn over the top card. So now, if you have a bad card, if you turn over a bad card and you have nothing in front of you, it stays in front of you. You don't want to get bad cards. Unless you ever have 3, then they all go back to your hand. But bad cards aren't great. If you turn over a good card and you have a bad card, it gets rid of them. They both go in your hand. If you turn over a good card and you have none, you get to keep it. And in fact, if you ever get 4 good faces in front of you at any point in time, you win the game. But whenever you draw a bad card, every good card you have in front of you goes into your hand. Now, once you draw a card, so let's say I make a stack like this. I pass it to Joe. Joe passes it to Sam. Sam passes it to Camilla. Camilla says, you know what? I'm going to draw the top card. Ha ha ha. She got the red card. So she's done. She can't draw anymore. She passes it back to me. I can draw and draw and draw and draw. So you can keep drawing as long as you get something good. Once you get something bad, you have to stop. And that's how you play. The game this reminds me of a lot, actually, is Skull. The Skull has kind of different coasters, and you're passing them around and trying to out-bluff other people. That's all this game is out-bluffing other people. But it's just a clever way to do it. I give you a stack of cards. I've done one where there was a bad card on top and a bad card on the bottom and a good card in the middle. So the first person took a bad card. The next person's like, I'm safe. They took a good card. They're like, ha, ha, ha. I'll draw another one. And it was bad. And then you can do all sorts of things. And then you're out-thinking each other. There's also an envelope with a game, that comes with, it says, open me after playing the game 3 times. I open it after playing the game once. And it adds a couple more faces. I'm not going to show them to you in case you want to be spoiled by that. But they also add a little bit more to the game. This is not a deep game by any means, but it's a really great filler. The kind of game you play while you're waiting for other people to show up. And I enjoyed it. I give this one a 7.5. I found it just to be silly fun. And it's quick, simple to bring to the table. And I just get a kick out of fooling somebody. And this is a good way to fool someone without having to lie. So that's good face, bad face. Now we've gone big. FuBi. Now FuBi, I used to own this game when I lived in Korea, and when I moved back from Korea to America, I had to get rid of it. But I've gotten it again for the Dice Tower library. This is FuBi 2.0, and I'm not actually sure what the difference is per se, but this is a big dexterity game. I like games like this. Here's how it plays. In FuBi, you're just trying to score goals. So on your team turn, one person's going to go first. You have a yellow stick for the yellow team, red. So the red player might go first here, and they're going to hit the ball. And then you look and see whose pin is it closest to. Well, red, so red gets to go again. It's like you're passing to yourself. Oh, I got too close to the yellow player. So the yellow player tried to shoot a goal, but hey, it's closest to them again. This might be it. Nope. But it's still in there. It's still closest to the yellow. Ah! So if you can't tell, you give it to the defender. So red shoots it out, and red scores a goal. He gets 1 point. Whenever you score a goal, you put it here, and now it's yellow's turn again. You can bounce it off the wall. Of course, this doesn't help because red has it back now. Woo! Just pass it to a yellow player. I don't know what that's all about. Although yellow passed it back to red. This is it, folks. No. Anyhow, that's how you play FuBi. Now, this is the kind of game you have to sit there and go, do you have space in your house for it? But I enjoy it a lot. This is one I'm giving an 8 to. It's a fun soccer game. You can try to be strategic and just pass the ball along with the paddles till you get that perfect shot. That outside there is the same material that like suspenders are made out of, and it's stretched really taut so they bounce off it, and it's just very satisfying. It's a fun little game. It's a game that you could leave set up on a table maybe in your den or game room, and for what I'm taking it for conventions, I think it's fantastic. So FuBi, a really fun soccer game. Flip here is a new game that just came out. This is from the makers of FuBi, a soccer game, and this one here is a game in which you're going to be hitting a ball around and coming back and landing on some circles. That's actually not particularly a new concept. Let me show you. This game is pretty simple and actually harkens back to like old Rebound. You put the a marble of your color here. You'll take turns, and you're just going to hit it. You don't want to get it in there. You want to get it onto 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. See, now that was a skilled shot. That was also a skilled shot because he knocked him out. That was too weak of a shot. That was even weaker. I don't know what that player was doing. Ooh, suddenly all the good shots are gone. And nobody is scoring. Nope, white has 1 and a 2 now. And now they're clogging things up. So white has 2 points. And that's basically how you play. You can play whoever gets the most points. You can play to a certain number of points. But that is Flip. So this is not particularly, like I said, a new concept. I first saw this in the game Rebound when I was a kid, in which you raced little marbles that had plastic rings around them around a board. It was almost the same thing here. And I like Rebound a lot. But Flip here adds... So what does Flip do that's different? It has that outside thing, which is it's a very tight, taut material that when you hit it, the stuff bounces really well. Those big marbles that block them, you can remove them if you want to make it easier to play or not. But it's not a game of particularly huge amount of rules. You're just hitting something around. It's a lot of fun, simple, easy to play. This is the kind of game you could leave set up in your house. It's the kind of game you could bring to a picnic. You set it outside, everyone's playing it and going around. For me, I like putting these games in our Dice Tower conventions because everyone comes up and has a good time with them. I don't know that I like this as much as FuBi, the original soccer game from this company. I give this one, but I still enjoy it. It's a 7.5. That idea of just bouncing around. Shuffleboard is kind of this. I think on a cruise ship, they could set one of these up and people would have a good time playing it. So that is Flippi. I keep forgetting that there's an I at the end of it. Check it out. And there you go, folks. 5 reviews. Small games, big games, but all fun games. Many of these are making it to the Dice Tower Library. Remember, if you like to see these reviews and you just want to see the short versions of them and not this whole long video, you can check that out at Dice Tower Encore, where not just me, other folks from the Dice Tower are doing shorter reviews of various games. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching 5 Swift Reviews on the Dice Tower.